there. Thank you for tuning in. This is Dhruti Shah, and welcome to the Resilient Entrepreneur Podcast, where every month I bring to you the story of an entrepreneur who is proven to be unstoppable because they're resilient. This podcast is a culmination of my own story of resilience. As someone who taught herself early on to be mentally tough, I came to realize that success stories are great to remain motivated, but true learning happens when you fail, you stumble, you reflect, and you rise. This podcast is an attempt to bring to you, to my listeners, the situations that test your nerves, your grit, and your resilience. If you listen closely, you will hear the entrepreneurs reflect. And who knows, you may have some light bulb moments yourself. The Resilient Entrepreneur is brought to you by C2C OD, a firm that specializes in bringing people and strategy together. With that, let's meet my guest today. Coming right up. Welcome back, listeners. Our guest today is an investment banker turned edupreneur who has featured among Business World Education's 40 under 40 leaders. She's always curious. She's passionate about education. She is unstoppable. She's Srishty Jain, founder and CEO of CoLLearn, an ed-tech platform that is positively impacting over 30,000 lives. Before we bring Srishty on, here's a bit more on what CoLLearn does. CoLLearn is designed to fulfill non-traditional career choices through live online offbeat courses, mentorship programs, and placement assistance by celebrity instructors in an engaging and interactive manner. It offers these in sports, finance, and upcoming domains like artificial intelligence. Well, let's meet the women behind this wonderful, wonderful venture. Hey, Srishty, so good to have you here. Welcome to the Resilient Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm so excited about our conversation today.
Same here. Thank you so much. Honored to be here.
Yes, Srishty, I would love to understand, what has been your journey like as an entrepreneur?
Like any other entrepreneur, the journey was quite similar, the high highs and the low lows.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've understood, if you ask me one word about entrepreneurship, it's actually perseverance. You have to take hundreds and hundreds of decisions on a monthly basis, sometimes on a weekly basis. And some decisions are bound to go wrong. Some decisions are bound to go very, very right. But at the same time, you don't give up. There's always next day. And that has been my motto from last 4.5 years since we started this journey. That, okay, things may fall in the place, things may not fall in the place, but as long as you don't give up, you'll find your way.
Absolutely. So let's go back a little bit, right, in time. And how did you become an entrepreneur in the first place? Because, when I was hearing you speak at another event, you were sharing your journey about how you were in Dubai, doing a fantastic job, and, you just decided one Friday. What happened over there? What led to this?
Yeah, there is a little bit of history beyond that as well. So my first job was in Bangalore, in Mosaic Capital, which was a boutique investment bank, as a associate in the investment banking. It was a front-end investment banking job, and since these are the years like 2008, and beyond. And those were the years when entrepreneurship just started in India, in the sense that the startup culture started in India. We started having Flipkart, we had Capillary guys, we had, Myntra, we had a lot of other startups coming up. And being in Bangalore, I was at the right place at the right time. And a lot of deals were coming to us. We were speaking to founders every single time. A lot of founders came for their subsequent round of funding. And that was very, very fascinating for me. Because, I always used to think that what is it like to be on the other side of the table? Like, how do these guys envisage so many things? They come up, how do they do it? How do they make the vision take a shape and all of that happen? And then, obviously you were an investment banker, so you have a steady salary, life was cool. And then I got into Dubai, I became cooler. Right. And then I decided to do my second MBA. then this was with the UCLA Anderson School of Management. It was a 1-year executive program, and that's when I got in touch with the professors there. And all of us know that US thinks 10 years ahead of any other country. And in one of my conversations during the breakout sessions, I told my professor that I was always fascinated with Sachin Bansals of the world, Binny Bansals of the world, capillary guys of the world, and all of that. And I never had the courage to do that. And somehow he convinced me to take that leap of faith. He said that what more will happen, either you'll be super successful or you will not be successful, but at the same time, the learnings that you'll have will be really, really, immense, and this will serve you for a lifetime. And with that thought process, and also he told me one thing, that the regret of not doing something is more than the fear of doing something.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And that became my motto. And somehow, at that juncture in our life, I somehow convinced my spouse also to leave his job in Dubai, and both of us landed in Bangalore in October 2019.
Amazing. And that's how the company started, right?
Yes.
Phenomenal. So I heard 3 C's essentially in the story that you shared, right? I think it started with curiosity. You needed a lot of courage in order to get, going with it. And of course, conviction, that belief in yourself that I can do it. What's the worst that will happen? So I'm hearing a lot of that in what you just shared. So, it's interesting you mentioned about regret, because I was also reading something along similar lines. And I read that, the regret of having done something and failed is much lesser than the regret of not doing it at all. Right.
Exactly.
So I think that's exactly what you thought about and said that, okay, let's just take the plunge. We'll see where we land. Phenomenal.
That's right.
So how did CoLLearn come into being?
Okay, so I'm a daughter of a teacher, and education was very close to me from beginning. I mean, I somehow, believe that whatever I've done today, and what kind of life I had it in my childhood was just because of education. My mom went back to her school after 14 years of her marriage, raised me as a single parent, and she inspired me to always excel in school, because once you excel in school, your life is set in a way.
Yeah.
So before I started thinking about what I wanted to do, I always knew that I wanted to do something in education. Because other things, though, I'm a good travel freak. I really enjoy cuisines. There are I read a lot, but at the same time, education is something which it's very close to my heart. And you have to believe in your in one thing that and that's how you start. So before coming in Bangalore, I knew that I wanted to do something in education. What I wanted to do, I had no clue on that.
Okay.
I started doing a lot of research, and having stayed in Dubai for longer duration, I knew that people, in Dubai, there is one culture that you have to leave your office at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And if you're not leaving the office at 5 o'clock, your boss would ask you after a couple of days that, are you not efficient enough to do your job? Right? So that was something which was very, very, different from Indian culture.
Yeah.
And in Dubai, what I figured out is everybody is having a second life. People follow their passions so passionately, so religiously, going for walks or participating in sports or, participating in social causes and all of that. That gives a new lease to their life. It's not just about just work.
Yes.
And it makes the whole personality very holistic. So I had that, I had that exposure to see people from those close lenses that, yes, there can be a life beyond that as well.
Yes.
When I came back to India, I saw something which was everybody in India was just talking about doctor, engineer, accountancy. Even today, to some extent, that's true, right? Some of that has changed after COVID. But still, majority, we are driven with those 3 career choices. And when I saw, the likes of Unacademies, Byju's, Upgrad, so that space was already taken. Like there was not much room to do anything else there, right? So then I started thinking that what can be the other way? So non-traditional was something which came to my mind. And I
Okay.
thought that, okay, everybody is talking about making your kid doctor, engineer, accountant. I will say that let's teach the kid the basics of it. Like one of our first courses was how to build your speaker. So it was not about building just a speaker. It was like learning the acoustics, the statistics, the math behind it. And it may not be the best speaker for that kid, but it will be the most beloved speaker for that kid.
Yeah.
And we developed some courses like that, which were never heard of. And we were learning a lot because nobody has given us that kind of hands-on, experiences at how acoustics work, how statistics work, how these things correlate to each other. And then you develop that product.
Yeah.
And COVID happened.
Wow. Okay.
And then we convinced a lot of schools to do summer campaigns with us.
Yeah.
But then one after other, before even the lockdowns were announced, they just called us saying that we will not be able to do.
Okay.
Sorry for this financial. And we were like, okay, we'll do it after 2 months. And they were like, no, we can't say. So we had this in mind that something is going on. Like, it may not be just 1 month scenario that we thought of. It may go for longer. And we had luckily one trainer. She had taught in University of Washington, and she said that let's do online. And and before even the lockdowns were announced, we announced our first workshop. That
Online virtual workshop.
Yes, a virtual workshop. And most of my other trainers said that we'll not do it because we don't know how to do it, and I don't think so you can do it and all of that. But she said we will do it. She's still a very good friend of mine. We don't do that course anymore.
Yes.
But she taught kids, Bitcoin for blockchain for kids. That was her, this one. And the way she taught, within the first day we had 16 students, second day we had 60, and third day we had 120, and we haven't done any promotion. We didn't do anything. We just sent it to a couple of our friends saying that, can you forward it to your kids circle and all of that. And that gave us a lot of confidence that, okay, we were doing something interesting. People wanted to do it. And all those 16 and 60 people were there in the third session.
Yeah.
So, and then we immediately went back to our drawing board and we said that all our courses that we have launched with, that we wanted to do it as, elongated 1 month course and 2 month course, let's do it 3-day, just workshop. Let's just try and test the product. Let's see what is it. So we had courses like how to become a YouTube star. We had courses like Bitcoin for kids, blockchain for kids, design thinking for kids, how to build your website and sell the cupcakes online. So how to build your Shopify website, and those kind of lot of very different kind of courses were there. We had a run, like we really had so many people, like 8,000 people coming in 1 month itself without doing any promotions, things like that.
Just word of mouth. Yeah.
That's word of mouth. And, also early mover advantage. After that, it tapered off a little bit because, everybody started doing workshops and webinars and all of that. And, but that gave us a lot of, insight into our products. One, that not just kids, the adults are really interested.
Yeah.
Second, parents want their kid to know this, but they are not willing to pay for the kids to know this. Right?
Interesting learning.
Exactly. So, in the hindsight, everything in life happens for good only. Even for us, COVID happened for good. I mean, I'm not saying it's good for everybody, but in terms of business, it was really good because we tested all our products, which would have taken at least 6 months to test and understand that insight. But those insights were really good. And then we thought that, adults are interested. Let's focus on adult. And within 6 months, we started a little bit of pivoting, and we started courses which were adult specific, like investment banking courses, sports analytics courses, umpiring courses, and all of that. We also did courses like composting. We had Vani Murthy teaching that. We did workshops on, games development and all of that. Then we got incubated by Jito Angel Network. And they told us that, you are having like maybe more than 80 SKUs. Not going deep into it.
Correct. Yeah, it's a very wide range. It's a good variety to have, but nothing.
It's a good variety to have, and it's good to have so many courses on the platform, but at the same time, you're not going deep into it. And India is not a binge learning society. You can have a very good run because early movers will come or early adopters will come, but frankly, India is not a binge learning society. So you pick up one category that you want to go deep into it, like really deep into it. So we had two contestants. One is sports, second is finance, where we were generating a lot of revenue and we were doing really good. But we had to do, and they made us do a lot of exercises. Like they had a lot of mentors who would tell us that, okay, today you interview so many people, these many candidates of yours. And then we figured out that sports is where we were making a lot of impact. Money is more or less similar in sports as well as finance. And second thing was, sports was a clearly blue ocean. Finance, even today, is very, very bloody red ocean.
Yeah.
So we picked up sports. And again, luck would have it, within 2 months, Neeraj Chopra won the first gold of India. Actually, the second gold of India. So people just, there were always euphoria. People started realizing that beyond cricket, there are sports and Indians can win gold.
Yeah.
And it shifted the mindset of people. Initially when we used to call, it was very tough for us. Every parents will say that, no, India doesn't do anything beyond cricket, and cricket very tough to get into and all of that. Now parents started approaching us and asking us, what is the avenue? My kid plays this. What can he do beyond this?
How can you grow into this?
And it has a, mind shift overnight sort of, that inflection point that happens. It was very good for us, right time, right place. We said that now we'll not change. We have decided for sports. Let's have sports only. And from that day onwards, we are doing only sports. And it has its own pros and cons. Pros because, we are the first one to do it. In most of our category, we are the only player to do that. And we are the only consolidated player even today in India to do that. So we get a lot of coverages. We get a lot of support. At the same time, the con is that when you don't have competitors, you write the rules of the game and you make a lot of mistakes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we are still, doing that. It has been a very good journey. I don't want to change anything in life. But at the same time, yes, it takes a lot of time for you to scale up.
Yeah.
And we are still in that journey too.
No, absolutely. And, there is so much that you shared in what you did, right? And I hope I'm able to do justice when I summarize this, right? You talked about how you followed your passion around education. You wanted to take a non-traditional route, and you did, right? In terms of what you offered. You pivoted when COVID presented itself as one of the biggest challenges that humankind has seen in a long time, right? In that sense, you identified a unique product category. You had the early mover advantage, and you were very cognizant of that. You knew that there is nobody else, and you were trying to take over as much of the market share as possible, maybe 100% at that point in time, because I think you were also in the process of creating a new market in itself, right? And I think hats off to the fact that you were open-minded to the suggestion that your mentors had for you and to the ideas that they threw at you, because a lot of entrepreneurs that I've met can be very rigid in the sense that this is the path we've chosen. We don't want to move from there. But I think having that flexibility and the agility to a different point is very important. And I think you definitely showcase that. And of course, being there at the right place at the right time, super important. But I really hope you are able to leave at 5 p.m. still.
No, we don't. We never. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that. But Srishty, you talked about so much. I would love to understand a few challenges that you faced. I'm sure it was not, you make it sound like, yeah, we did this, we did that. It sounds very easy, but I'm sure there were some hiccups, challenges, obstacles that you faced along the way. What stood out for you in that?
See, the biggest hiccup was that sports is not a very structured industry in India. Nobody else was doing it. So how to get your trainers? The first challenge was, how do you convince somebody who's been there, done that this will work, when you yourself don't know whether it will work or not?
Yeah.
Right. And we've been very lucky to have very, very good early supporters of us. I mean, one thing, Truti, which I want to say is that none of our trainers left us. Maybe our relationship with them, maybe they saw some potential in the product or potential in our relationship. Maybe, we've asked a couple of trainers to leave because we were not able to do justice with them, but it was not, there was no any friction in that relationship. It was just very amicable, telling them the truth. We've been very transparent in what we do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, we will be like the first one to tell you even the bad news. So yeah, but for me, the biggest hiccup was to getting those trainers and convincing them that, and these are the courses which are not available. Like, it's not like, somebody else has done it. You rewrite a little bit here and there. So, and there's not much of literature on internet also about this. Somebody has to do a lot of research and then develop it and go through multiple rounds, and then you get what you want. So that was one thing. Second is female in sports are rare. I don't come from a very, very structured sports background. Like, I am not a national athlete or national player, or never won anything in sports as such. So then again, there is a question that, how can you do it? But that is actually, a plus point, because I can see that industry from a very neutral standpoint, and I can compare it to my corporate experience, and I can tell that, these are the things that has to be done to make it a little more structured. Or, so that also was tough. Third was, I had a very good finance career in my life. People were like, are you doing this just for, hobby or passion? Are you really serious about it? Now it's been 4 years. Now people think that, she's serious, she's going to stay. A lot of competitors have come and gone. We still are, touch wood, intact, and we are doing, month after month, nice business. So those are the things which has not gone in our favor initially. But at later point in time, we learned, and that became our plus points.
Absolutely. And was there anything specific that you did in order to tell yourself, don't give up? What do you have, any practices, any any routine that you have for yourself that keeps you going, just like athletes do, right? They have a routine that keeps them in the right space when it comes to mind, body, and soul. Is there anything that you did from a mindset point?
From last 4 years, the amount of time I've told myself all is well, I'm sure, in my whole life, I haven't told that.
Wow.
I keep telling myself all is well, everything is going to be okay, it's fine. Because as I said that, there's no rule book, there's no playbook, there is nothing. We are just trying here and there, and then we are finding our way. So I keep telling myself. Second thing which I would like to tell every entrepreneur, have mentors. Have mentors, because since the time I'm having mentors who are really invested in our thought process, in our vision, the journey has become much easier. And mentorship is very, very under hyped in India. But honestly, whatever we are today, because see, when you are doing the business, you have a very, very focused approach. You can't see the big picture. But when your mentor comes and says that, okay, let's try this, let's do this, and the days when you're thinking, when everything has gone wrong, and when you have lost your hope, you just need to call your mentor. And I'm sure, people will vouch for it. The mentors are there for you for every single time. And they will just, pull you out of that darkness and just tell you that, yes, everything is going to be well. And once they have that kind of conviction, that why is, he having so much of confidence in you when you are losing your confidence? And that gives you the energy to bounce back.
It's like a boost, right? That comes to you. And I think as an entrepreneur, you need that. A lot of entrepreneurs, again, are not quite clear. Where do they reach out for these mentors, making sure it's the right fitment? How did you go about it, Srishty?
See, I have 4 or 5, mentors who are very close to me. In a larger scale, I have around 100 people who I can vouch on because of me being part of a lot of accelerator, incubator programs and all of that. Some of my mentors came from those incubators. For example, Sunil Handa sir, he came because of my affiliation with IIM Bangalore. Right? I mean, he's from IIM Ahmedabad, but he picks up a couple of startups. And I would never have met him if IIM Bangalore, I was not being part of IIM Bangalore. So that's those are the channels. Second is like some of the times, just like that, I was supposed to have a meeting with the person, and we were supposed to have a half an hour meeting, and the meeting went for like 2.5 hours. Both of us did not even realize. Then we figured out that how connected we are. How connected is our vision. And, that's how they became my entrepreneur. One such example is Sanjana Kiran. So, the first day when I was supposed to have the meeting, and I was 15 minutes late for that meeting because one of my student just became Cricket South Africa umpire. And I was so happy that I forgot that I was supposed to have a meeting. And I told her honestly that, this just happened and I was so much involved in that celebration that I forgot that I have a call. And I think, honesty is the best policy. And then we were she said, I have only 15 minutes right now. And we had a call for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, and that link was so good. And she's a sports psychologist. She works for one of the leading sports franchisees, IPL franchisee. She's also sports psychologist for a lot of podium winner Olympic, athletes. But, today also, if I just have something which is not going right, at personal level or professional level, I just call her, and I don't know, the energy that I get from her every single time I've called her is immense.
Amazing. And I think, finding the right kind of people will change everything. It's a game changer.
Yeah, and you have to take the chance. Like my third, mentor is Irfan Seth sir. Honestly, I never knew who he is before even, meeting him. I thought he just runs an academy and, he's the director there. It was not even mentioned that he's the founder there. So I just barged into his office and he listened to me very patiently. And when I went there, I saw every cricketer's photo there, because he has been mentor for so many big cricketers of India, so many renowned cricketers of India. And after that, he said that, okay, tell me, ma'am, what do you want from me? So I was like, I make people umpires, but my umpires are not getting their first match. So sir, can you help me? And I'll pay for it. I said something like that. He started laughing. He said that, how much? I said, okay, maybe 10%, 15%. And he said that I don't need any of that. You tell me what help you need. And from that day onwards, he's my go-to person whenever I need. I mean, we had a shoot from Reliance. They said that they need a cricket ground. And in the night only, I told that, sir, can I come tomorrow? I don't have cricket ground, don't have bat, ball, and all these things. And ground, so, getting a ground will be very tough for me overnight. And he said, no, you don't have to give so much of explanation. Come tomorrow.
Amazing. And having these people who cheer for you, who will energize you, who will be there even middle of the night if you need something, right? I think it just propels you in a different direction, right? And there's just so much peace of mind that you can have knowing that these people have your back. I think that in itself is so beautiful for your mind. Just be relaxed so you can innovate, you can create, you can do what you're good at. And I think that's what you're doing, Srishti. So, kudos to you on that. I see a recurring theme of you being courageous over here for sure. And I think you're very clear about the asks that you have as well from these mentors. Something to keep in mind for our listeners, right? It's very important that you're very clear what is it that you're asking of. Don't waste their time otherwise by having generic conversations. I don't think they would appreciate that. So absolutely. Besides having a mentor, I think you brought that up very well. And thank you for that, Srishti. Is there anything else, one advice that you would have for entrepreneurs? What would that be?
Yes. Listen to your customers. Honestly, listen to your customers. They are the one who are going to make your startup, either become a success or a failure. Because I have to give it to all my earlier students, my first batch of students or the second batch or the third batch, even today. When we started, we didn't know what a student want. We started with plain vanilla classes.
Yeah.
Students came back to us and said that we want to discuss these things even after the course. So they said that, okay. So then we said that let's have mentorship groups. So we started, WhatsApp groups where they will talk to each other. Nobody else is invited. Only they will talk to each other. They said that we want to discuss these things with our trainer. So we convinced trainer to be part of that group.
Yeah.
They said that we are getting everything, but we want to do some internships. We included an internship in our. Then they said that, ma'am, internship, mentorship, everything is fine, but we need jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Then we started focusing a lot on jobs. And today also, we are always open to whatever our students say. And
Yeah.
that has given us a lot of benefit in terms of what a customer wants. Second is, today also, if I have to call a student and say that, can you write a testimonial or can you record something because we are part of this cohort and they want us to have, they're always there for us. Now, some of my students say that whenever we see CoLLearn growing, we feel that we are growing. Because we have seen that journey from CoLLearn being an infant to a toddler to whatever it is today.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen to your customer because that's why you exist, right?
Yes, that's why you exist.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Srishty. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Really appreciate you taking the time. And I'm sure there are so many nuggets of wisdom that our listeners will take away from here. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Another great conversation. Call me biased if you may, but every time I talk to a women entrepreneur, I just feel like it's so different, the reflection that women entrepreneurs have. And I believe this conversation was no different. So many takeaways. Let's bring in Ramana, our producer. Ramana, what were your thoughts around this?
I think first, I love the idea behind CoLLearn. The whole concept of bringing non-traditional careers to the fore. I feel like the world today really needs not just diversity, but also diversification to help us think differently, right? And move against.
Refreshing to hear that, right? It was so refreshing to hear the entire concept. Yeah.
And coming back to the conversation, Dhruti, Srishty mentions, and we hear that more than once during the conversation, of how passionate she is about education and teaching. And one thing that struck me about her is that she herself is a lifelong learner. You can see that she has been constantly learning from everything happening around her. And, learnings that have in different ways contributed to her success and to the person she is. So that was
absolutely. I cannot agree more. Like, she's so passionate about education, and she mentioned that her father was a teacher, right? So I think it comes from there, and just being aware of what drives you, it's just phenomenal. And I think just thinking about it from the resilience point of view as well, to remain resilient, self-trust is so important. At some point, Srishty said that everything happens for the best. Ramana, in my experience, it really takes courage to say something like this, because it demonstrates that when things were not going in her favor, she had the audacity to think out of the box and do something about it. Hence she's able to make that statement today that everything happens for the best, because I saw it through and I knew that it worked in my favor. I mean, that is powerful for me. So this particular podcast, I'm going to end it with a proverb that I read somewhere. And I also believe it really fits the theme of these conversations pretty well, today's conversation especially. So it goes something like this: have good trust in yourself, not in the one that you think you should be, but in the one that you are. If we all are able to live by this, I think life will be easier, come what may, come what the situation or the circumstance. So here you go, listeners, another episode of A Resilient Entrepreneur. Stay tuned for our next episode, which is going to be a season finale. So tune in to our next episode to find out more. And that's a cliffhanger for you. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.